Welcome, fellow travelers through time and possibility. Today we embark on a journey not into the past as it was, but as it might have been. We delve into the fascinating realm of what if, where a single turning point can reshape the very fabric of civilization. Our focus today is a conflict that defined an era, the Punic Wars. This epic struggle between two ancient superpowers, Rome and Carthage, determined the trajectory of the Western world. But what if the outcome had been different? Imagine a world where the Roman Empire never rose, where its legions never marched across continents, and its laws never formed the bedrock of modern governance. This is the tantalizing prospect we will explore. Prepare to rewrite history, to consider a reality where the familiar landmarks of our past simply do not exist. The Punic Wars were more than just a series of battles. They were a clash of titans, a struggle for supremacy over the Mediterranean. On one side stood the burgeoning Roman Republic, a land-based power with an insatiable drive for expansion. On the other, the mighty Carthaginian Empire, a thalassocracy built on trade, naval might, and vast mercantile networks. The First Punic War, fought primarily for control of Sicily, saw Rome, a relative newcomer to naval warfare, adapt and overcome Carthage's maritime dominance. It was a brutal, protracted conflict that showcased Rome's incredible resilience and capacity for innovation. Then came the Second Punic War, a conflict etched into the annals of military history by one name, Hannibal Barca. His audacious crossing of the Alps with elephants, a feat of logistical genius, brought the war directly to Roman soil. For years, Hannibal ravaged Italy, inflicting devastating defeats upon the Romans. The Battle of Cannae stands as a testament to Hannibal's tactical brilliance, a catastrophic Roman defeat where tens of thousands of legionaries were annihilated. Yet, despite his victories, Hannibal faced a critical limitation: a lack of consistent reinforcements and siege equipment. Rome, though battered, refused to yield, engaging in a war of attrition that slowly bled Hannibal's forces dry. Ultimately, the war shifted to North Africa, culminating in Scipio Africanus's victory at Zama. This defeat forced Carthage to accept harsh terms, stripping it of its empire and naval power. The Third Punic War, a generation later, was less a war and more an execution. Rome, driven by fear and a desire for absolute security, utterly destroyed Carthage, sowing its fields with salt, ensuring no rival would ever rise from its ashes. This decisive Roman victory paved the way for the Roman Republic's transformation into an empire. It set the stage for Latin to become the lingua franca of the West, for Roman law to shape legal systems, and for Roman engineering to leave an indelible mark on the landscape. But what if this path had been diverted? Let us now imagine the pivotal moment, the hypothetical turning point where Hannibal achieved decisive success. What if, after Cannae, more Italian cities had defected to his side, providing the manpower and resources he desperately needed? What if Carthage had committed fully to supporting him, sending consistent reinforcements and siege engines? In this altered timeline, Hannibal, bolstered by new allies and supplies, might have marched on Rome itself. The city, demoralized and undefended after its crushing defeats, could have fallen. Not necessarily destroyed, but captured, its leaders forced to accept Carthaginian terms. This would have been a political and psychological blow from which the Roman Republic might never have recovered. With Rome subdued, Carthage would emerge as the undisputed dominant power in the Mediterranean. Its empire would not be built on conquest and direct rule in the Roman style, but rather on its established strengths: trade, naval supremacy, and economic influence. We would see a vast network of client states, trading posts and mercantile agreements stretching across the known world. The Roman Republic, stripped of its territories and prestige, would likely collapse into a collection of fragmented city-states, perhaps even fading into historical obscurity. Its unique legal and administrative systems, its Latin language, and its cultural innovations would be confined to a much smaller, less influential sphere. Instead, the Punic language, a Semitic tongue, would gain prominence, and Carthaginian legal principles, rooted in commercial law and maritime codes, would become the standard. The geopolitical shifts stemming from a Carthaginian victory would be profound. Carthage, now the Mediterranean hegemon, would extend its influence far beyond its traditional North African and Iberian strongholds. We might see Carthaginian trading posts and colonies established along the Atlantic coasts of Europe. Imagine Carthaginian merchants and explorers venturing into Gaul, establishing trade routes with Celtic tribes, perhaps even influencing their development. The rich tin mines of Britain would become a prime target for Carthaginian economic exploitation, leading to early colonization and cultural exchange. Iberia, already a Carthaginian sphere of influence, would be fully integrated into their mercantile empire. Perhaps the most astonishing ripple effect would be in transatlantic exploration. The Carthaginians were renowned for their seafaring prowess, their ships capable of long voyages. With no Roman Empire to contend with and a focus on maritime expansion, it is plausible that Carthaginian explorers, driven by trade winds and curiosity, could have discovered the Americas centuries before Columbus. Their advanced navigation and shipbuilding techniques would make such a journey feasible. In the Eastern Mediterranean, the Hellenistic kingdoms, already in decline, would face a different balance of power. Without Roman expansion, they might have persisted longer, or perhaps fallen under Carthaginian economic sway. The cultural and philosophical landscape would also be dramatically altered. Instead of the Greco-Roman synthesis, we might see a Greco-Phoenician blend, with Carthaginian pragmatism and mercantile values influencing Greek philosophical thought. Technological development would likely follow a different path. While Rome excelled in engineering, road building and aqueducts, Carthage's genius lay in naval architecture, port construction, and efficient trade networks. We might see earlier advancements in shipbuilding, navigation, and perhaps even early forms of global financial systems. The development of land-based infrastructure might be slower, but maritime technology would flourish. Even the trajectory of religion would be different. Without the Roman Empire's eventual adoption and spread of Christianity, its early growth would face a vastly different political and cultural environment. Its path would be far less certain, perhaps remaining a smaller regional faith, or evolving in ways we can barely conceive. Consider the linguistic landscape of this alternate present. Instead of Latin-derived Romance languages dominating much of Europe, we might find Phoenician-derived languages as the lingua franca of trade and diplomacy. English, if it even existed, would be profoundly different, perhaps with a Semitic rather than Latinate foundation. The Americas, if discovered by Carthaginians, would have a vastly different history. Carthaginian colonization, driven by trade and resource extraction, would have shaped indigenous cultures in unique ways. The impact would still be profound, but the nature of the interaction, the diseases, and the subsequent development would be entirely distinct from the European model we know. The political landscape of this world would likely be a network of powerful city-states and trading empires, rather than vast, centralized nation-states. The Carthaginian model favored decentralized control through economic ties, leading to a more fragmented but perhaps more interconnected global system. Legal systems would operate on fundamentally different principles. Without Roman law, with its emphasis on codified statutes, individual rights and property ownership, Carthaginian legal traditions focused on commercial contracts, maritime law, and collective responsibility would prevail. This could lead to a society with different notions of justice and individual liberty. The cultural landscape would be a rich, unfamiliar tapestry. Art, literature, music, and philosophy would reflect Phoenician and Carthaginian influences, perhaps emphasizing practicality, trade, and a connection to the sea. The epic poems would tell tales of daring voyages and mercantile triumphs, not of conquering legions. Economically, this world would be defined by maritime trade and global interconnectedness. The oceans would be the highways of commerce, fostering a constant exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. This emphasis on trade might lead to earlier forms of globalization, albeit with a different set of dominant players. Overall, this alternate reality would present a richer mosaic of cultures and traditions. Without the homogenizing influence of a single dominant empire like Rome, the world might have remained more diverse, with a greater variety of political systems, languages, and cultural expressions. A Carthaginian victory, while fascinating to contemplate, would not necessarily be a utopian outcome. There are potential advantages and disadvantages to consider. On the positive side, a Carthaginian-dominated world might have seen increased trade and economic prosperity on a global scale. Their mercantile focus could have fostered greater cultural exchange and understanding between disparate peoples, driven by the pursuit of profit rather than conquest. Advancements in maritime technology would likely have accelerated, leading to earlier global exploration and interconnectedness. The world might have been more decentralized, with a network of trading powers rather than monolithic empires, potentially leading to fewer large-scale, devastating conflicts. However, there are also potential downsides. A world without Roman law might have lacked some of the foundational principles of individual rights and codified justice that we take for granted. Carthaginian society, while advanced in many ways, was also known for its strict social hierarchy and, at times, harsh practices. The suppression of other cultures, particularly the Roman and Greek, might have stifled certain intellectual and artistic developments. While maritime technology would flourish, areas where Rome excelled, such as large-scale civil engineering and land-based infrastructure, might have developed more slowly. The absence of a unifying Roman peace could have led to increased regional conflicts and instability as competing trading powers vied for influence. Ultimately, this would be an unpredictable and completely different world order, with its own unique set of challenges and opportunities. The impact on philosophical thought, ethics, and values would be profound. Without the Stoic and Epicurean schools of thought, without Roman legal philosophy, the very way humanity conceived of justice, governance, and the individual's place in society would be different. Carthaginian pragmatism and commercial ethics might have shaped moral frameworks. The long-term consequences, stretching centuries and millennia into the future, are almost impossible to fully grasp. The rise and fall of empires would continue, but the players, the ideologies, and the technologies would be entirely alien to us. New conflicts and challenges would emerge in this Carthaginian world, driven by different motivations and shaped by different historical precedents. Would a Carthaginian-dominated world have led to an earlier industrial revolution, fueled by global trade? Or would its decentralized nature have slowed the accumulation of capital necessary for such a transformation? These are questions that highlight the sheer complexity of alternate history. The Punic Wars serve as a powerful reminder of the ephemeral nature of empires. Carthage, once a beacon of maritime power and wealth, was utterly erased from the map. Its destruction was so complete that much of its history and culture is known to us only through the lens of its Roman conquerors. Yet, even in defeat, Carthage left an indelible mark. Its achievements in navigation, trade, and artistry were remarkable. Hannibal Barca remains one of history's most enduring military geniuses, his tactics studied by strategists even today. Carthage stands as a cautionary tale of ambition and conflict, a testament to how quickly even the mightiest civilizations can fall. But in the realm of what if, its legacy can be reimagined, its potential explored, and its influence allowed to blossom into a world we can only speculate about. We have journeyed through a fascinating alternate reality, glimpsing a world where Carthage, not Rome, shaped the course of Western civilization. It is a world of Phoenician tongues, maritime empires, and perhaps even an earlier discovery of the Americas. The fascination of what-ifs in history lies in their ability to illuminate the fragility of our present reality. They remind us that the path taken was not the only path possible, and that countless decisions, battles, and individuals could have steered humanity in wildly different directions. What are your thoughts on a Carthaginian-dominated world? Do you see more advantages or disadvantages? What other ripple effects can you imagine? Share your insights in the comments below. If you enjoyed this speculative journey, please consider liking this video, sharing it with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribing to our channel for more explorations into the roads not taken. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next dive into alternative history. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep imagining.